Hey folks, and welcome to CarStarz' 10 Cool Facts About Mike's 68 GTO in the 1985 movie, My Science Project. Fact number 1. There were two different authentic 1968 Pontiac GTOs acquired for the film to portray Mike's car in the movie. One was the hero car that was used through the majority of the film and was a full HO performance package model. The other was a seldom used stunt/backup car that was only used for rougher driving night scenes towards the end of the film, although some sources state that it may not have actually even been used in the film at all. Regardless, however, there were for sure two 68 GTOs obtained by Disney Studios for the film's production. Fact number 2. The Hero GTO originally had a 400 HO V8 engine. However, prior to Disney's purchase of the car, it had a built 455 HO installed, sending the power to a built T8 400 auto transmission. So, at least this movie GTO was indeed an actual strong performer, despite the prop blower that we'll get into more details of later on. Of course though, as peppy as a performance-built 455 may be, it still wouldn't be able to beat the speed of electricity as so hilariously depicted in this oh-so-unrealistic, but certainly entertaining film. Fact number 3. The Hero GTO was originally Verdoro green with a black vinyl top from the factory, but had a makeover for the film to give a more unique and aggressive appearance to fit the gearhead-type character of Mike. Beyond the prop blower that we'll get into more info of in a bit, the car was repainted in another factory Pontiac color known as Solar Red. However, as some viewers may have noticed, they painted the rear bumper the same color as the body, which is not a factory practice on this specific model as they are usually chrome. Another deviation from stock that more astute observers may notice was that although the GTOs used in the film were indeed authentic GTO models, the hood was actually from the more common Pontiac Le Mans model. My guess is that they didn't want to chop up an authentic GTO hood for the prop blower. Mike's GTO also had a set of snowflake wheels from a 70s model Trans Am as well, which actually looked pretty cool on a second-gen GTO and is one of the more defining custom visual elements that stick in the memory of folks who appreciate the look of Mike's ride. Fact number 4. As for a bit more detail on the backstory of the primarily used Hero GTO, the owner of the car previous to the owner who sold the car to Disney Studios purchased the GTO in 1979 from a used car lot in Monterey, California. The car was still mostly all original at this point, still in its factory color, engine, and running gear anyways. He had the car for a few years, drove it hard, spun a bearing, removed the engine and running gear, then sold the roller car to a local performance shop by the name of HO Racing. The shop installed the built 455 HO engine and TH 400, then sold the car to Disney Studios. At this point, Disney had actually already purchased a different GTO and were intending to use this GTO they bought from HO Racing as the backup car. However, since this car was actually in better shape and performed so well, they ended up using it as the hero car instead and kept the one they had already as the backup car. Also, the other car they had already didn't have the HO performance package, so they preferred the better handling of this car as well over the other one that didn't have that option. Fact number 5. As with many movies before it, the GTO's blower was not functional, but a mere prop. Most car enthusiasts instantly noticed something unusual here during this open hood scene. You see something missing here? That's right, there are no carbs sitting on that Roots-type blower. That could only mean that the whole blower prop was essentially just a cover concealing the carbs inside. Also, as portrayed in many other movies before it, the blower is depicted as being able to be turned on or controlled via a switch. This portrayal, while exciting for a movie, is not mechanically feasible in reality, especially with a Roots-type blower. While it's not entirely impossible to have a supercharger activated and deactivated with a mechanism via a switch, it would be quite complicated and extremely expensive to achieve, especially using 1985 technology to try to do it with. So certainly no film production team would waste that kind of time or money when they can just fake it all cheaply. Fact number 6. The second generation Pontiac GTO was produced from 1968 to 1972. It saw updated styling, mechanical upgrades, a switch to the A-body platform, and saw the introduction of the 455 V8 engine option in 1971. The engines got bigger and slightly more powerful, with the high-output model making around 360 gross horsepower, and in 1969, Pontiac unveiled the now well-known Judge option for the GTO, which had special performance, decals, and aero options. Today, these cars are highly sought after by collectors, with excellent condition examples as values ranging from around $60,000 to well over $100K for rare option package models. The Judge GTOs in particular command seriously hefty sums. The most extreme example to date is this ultra-rare 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air convertible that was sold at a Mecum auction last year for an extraordinary $1.1 million. This model is one of only 7 examples ever produced with its particular options configuration. Fact number 7. Quite a large chunk of the film's $10 million budget was used on achieving the special effects. In fact, this movie had even more special effects than its direct competitor film at the time, Back to the Future, which was released that very same summer. Heck, just that corny T-Rex scene alone cost them $500,000 to pull off back then, and each of those individual time warp effect scenes cost around $15,000 each, not to mention that last big one costing a lot more than that, of course. So, what does this have to do with the car, you ask? Well, interestingly enough, just that one brief special effects scene when the time travel device electrically attacked the car actually cost them more to achieve than it did to purchase both of the 2 GTOs for the film in the mid-1980s. It's funny to even think about it now, but if this movie were made today, it would probably be the other way around considering the high collector values on these cars currently. Crazy stuff, isn't it? Fact number 8. Although the film is much less well known than most of the other summer of 1985 movie releases, the unique appearance of Mike's GTO stood out enough to car guys that there have been plenty of folks out there wanting to replicate the look with their second-gen GTOs. Okay, so honestly, you won't see many second-generation GTOs with a blower, a painted rear bumper, and snowflake wheels running around out there today, or all that many classic GTOs around at all anymore for that matter, but for most guys, it would be plenty enough to just own a nice 68 through 72 GTO. When it comes to replicas of Mike's GTO, it seems most would much rather go the scale model route to fill that desire instead of modify their own classic GOAT, and who could blame them? These beauties are getting scarce these days. We'll get into some scale options shortly. Fact number 9. Where are the My Science Project GTOs now, you ask? Well, unfortunately, there seems to be no solid info on the current whereabouts of the cars today. However, since the cars were not used all that abusively within the film, as there were no big crash or otherwise destructive sequences in the movie, most assume that they were resold to the public after filming concluded. With that said, it's entirely possible that they are still out there somewhere. So if anyone watching has any further info on where either of the GTOs from this movie ended up, please let us know in the comments section below. Fact number 10. Getting into scale model options, as you may have guessed, this not very well-known movie has no official merchandise, so there were no direct replica model kits or diecast models released. Although there are a few small 1/64 scale diecast red 68 GTOs you can find, none really stand out to me as great, but the best and most detailed diecast 68 GTO you'll find out there is this very cool 1/18 scale model from Auto World. Unfortunately, these are out of retail circulation now and quite hard to find for a decent price, so your best and cheapest option here is to just go the model kit route, as the creator of this fine replica did. Looks like they did quite a nice job on it too, as it is certainly a very solid likeness of Mike's GTO indeed. There is a great 1/25th scale 1968 GTO model kit available from AMT to use as a base, and these are still currently available on the retail market and can be had for around the $30 mark. I will put a link in the description below to where you can get this model kit for those interested. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I have recently created my own diecast car channel named Show and Tell Diecasts that I display and detail my diecast models that I now add videos to weekly also. I will include a link to the new channel in the video description below as well for those interested. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here. You guys are all great. See you next time.